Defences haven't exactly been watertight for Hull Kingston Rovers and Wakefield recently, so perhaps we can expect an avalanche of points here tonight. That'd please the uncommitted, but the coaches would be far from happy. Rovers and the Wildcats know the middle eights are looming and the scramble for survival that would bring. Well, Hull KR get the big guns back at just the right time. Josh Montalato has safely returned from best man duty at his brother's wedding in Australia. He missed last week's heavy defeat at Wigan, as did club captain Terry Campese, who's back to conduct the Rovers Orchestra. Two more return up front as well. Dane Tilse will make his home debut, having played and then got injured in Perpignan a fortnight ago. Kevin Laroya was injured in the warm-up at Wigan and was a last-minute withdrawal. And on the bench, James Donaldson finds himself there after his first start of the year last week. Now Wakefield and coach James Webster's used 30 players so far this season. The latest of them is Tom Johnston, who makes only his third appearance for the first team, and he got their only try at St Helens last week. Tim Smith will hope for better fare than in 2009 here, when in a Wigan jersey a shoulder injury virtually put paid to his Warriors career. Up front, Danny Washbrook plays and maintains his season ever-present record. Not named in the squad originally, but he passes a late fitness test and he plays. And it's an overseas bench for the Wildcats. Anderson the Aussie, Samoa's Godinez and Simon the Frenchman, alongside Englishman Malloy. So that's the scene set for this important match for these two. And Hull Kingston Rovers, they have had 4 consecutive away games. This is their first at home since the Easter Monday victory and a terrific 20 points to 16 win it was over the Huddersfield Giants. Wakefield, well, they're in a real slump. They've lost 10 in a row and they are now virtually consigned to competing in the middle eights. The season will come to how they perform in August and September, really. They have plenty to do to guarantee an 18th season in the Super League. So it's the Reds v the Blues tonight. The Reds of Hull KR, the Blues of the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats. The two teams making their way onto the pitch. And Steve-O, we could be highly and richly entertained tonight.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? They've been letting in a lot of points, that is for sure. There's a big problem. But I think the return of Terry Campese, their captain for the Rovers, will really lift their spirits after, well, it was a very poor showing last week, wasn't it?
Yes, Terry Campese back, and that's an important selection for Chris Chester, the Rovers coach. Looking to restore some pride following that 60-0 capitulation at Wigan last Friday. They were 34-0 down at half-time, in fact in 20 minutes. And this is a lovely, lovely touch by the Rovers. Connor Lyons, you may remember, he is the 14-year-old who was left fighting for his life after collapsing with a blood clot in his brain the day after playing the sport he loved. Well, he has been signed by Hull Kingston Rovers and he takes squad number 41 for this and the rest of the season. He'll have the unique honour of officially being part of the squad as we listed in the club's matchday programme and website alongside all of his first team heroes. So it's a fantastic gesture by Rovers and their coach Chris Chester to young Connor Lyons. Now then, before the match, in keeping with every other rugby league fixture this weekend in both the professional and the community game, there's going to be a minute's silence observed in memory of the Keighley Cougars Welsh international Danny Jones, who, as many of you will already be aware, passed away during last Sunday's abandoned game between London Scholars and Keighley. He was just 29, he fell ill early in the League One fixture, and as we have all discovered this week, was a hugely popular character. He leaves a wife, Liz, and 2 5-month-old baby twins, and the game now comes together in a minute's silence. The silence for Danny Jones, who so sadly passed away at the weekend at the age of 29. And before the silence, there was, as you probably heard, an impromptu round of applause in his memory as well. Big night for this young man, Joseph Cobb, Joe Cobb. He's 28 years of age tonight. It's his birthday, and it is his television debut here on Sky Sports, taking control of this first Utility Super League match. And he's had the cameras trained on him today for the very first time. So here we go. It's a vital match indeed for Rovers and for Wakefield. If Wakefield are to have any chance of getting away from the lower reaches of the table, they have to win here and then probably win another 7 of their remaining fixtures. Craig Hall for Wakefield gets us underway. Terry Campese is underneath the kickoff. And here is the first touch on home soil for big Dane Tilse. 6 foot 6 inches tall, 17 stone.
Yeah, he'll add a lot more impact money to this Rovers pack. They needed it. They were a shambles last week, as we all know. And the return, as I mentioned, Terry Campese, the captain, he really does make this team tick. He's a firm favourite here amongst the Rovers fans, but you know, Wakefield, they've got to do something that sadly they've failed on a regular basis this season, and that is tackle.
Well, they're tackling now in this opening set of 6. That's 4 gone. Rovers up to the halfway line or thereabouts. Campese has had his hands on the football in every one of the tackles so far, and the ball is now spread wide by him to Chris Wellham. Montelato was hugging the touchline. Wellham is not tackled, so it goes back to Campese again, and he takes it forward, and this now will be the last tackle for Rovers. And that was Badebza at dummy half, and he gave it to Kelly, who floats it out wide to the right hand side, looking for Kieran Dixon, finding Kieran Dixon, but the tackle is completed on that far side by Chris Riley.
Yeah, well, Chris Chester will be happy with the first attack in. It was a really good kick there by Albert Kelly into the corner. Kieran Dixon, we're playing on the wing tonight. Ben Cockayne will take the full-back position.
Yes, Dixon been named as full-back in the last 7, but he was shifted out to the wing at Wigan last week when things were going drastically wrong. As I say, they were 34-0 down after just 20 minutes. Never before have I seen a game on Sky Sports that was over almost before it had began, but that was the case last week. And I think we're going to see a much more competitive 80 minutes here tonight.
Well, the Rovers, they also realise that there's 2 valuable league points up for grabs tonight, and they really have to get themselves sorted out. They looked completely lost last week. A lot of that would be down to the fact that they didn't have their captain, Terry Campese. And that knocks the best kick. Good take there by Ben Cockayne.
Yes, the kick downfield from Craig Hall on that, the last tackle. Cockayne runs it back to the 30-metre line.
A lot more figure coming from the forwards on the home side.
Tilse drives the ball forward. Remarkable Dane Tilse. He made his debut in Perpignan 2 weeks ago. He never set foot in the city of Kingston upon Hull. He flew into Manchester and flew out immediately to the south of France and met up with his teammates over there. Adam Walker now takes it forward for Hull Kingston Rovers.
Well, Hull KR in the second set have been pretty fortunate. They're playing the ball far quicker than they did last week against Wigan. I guess that's a reflection of the defenders against them here, as Chris Riley makes his second good contribution, catching the ball in that corner and working away from it. But faster play of the ball. It's probably only 2 defenders in most of the tackles so far. The game's going more end-to-end than it did last week for the Hull KR side. Problem therefore is it Graham Horn has lost his boot and dropped to the floor.
Yes, there seems a big problem for the Graham Horn. He's only just got back onto his feet and he's limping badly.
Well, maybe somebody sort of trod on him. I'm not saying it was done on purpose, but it's probably how he's lost the boot in the process. Oh, that's got to be obstruction, surely.
Well, it was a diagonal run from Daniel Smith. Paul McShane, another former Leeds man, is at dummy half. And the ball will go high into the sky and is picked out of the air by Josh Montelato. Wasn't a bad kick by Tim Smith, that.
Yeah, just a little bit too strong.
Wasn't much following up, though, was there? There weren't many Wakefield players looking to compete with the ball, for the ball, rather.
Well, to be fair, their enthusiasm level has been pretty low all the way through this season. It's been a nightmare for the coach, James Webster.
We must remind viewers, though, back in round 2, when Wakefield entertained the Rovers side at home, they scored 44 points, won the game convincingly, 8 tries, looked great that day. Now, I know there are personnel changes for both sides, but last week as well, for me, in that opening 20 minutes against St Helens, Wakefield were the better side as the kick goes too far, and Wakefield here now need to seize this moment.
They need more opportunities like this, Phil. Kick going out on the full here from Albert Kelly, and this will be a godsend to the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats team. Referencing that win that they had over Hull Kingston Rovers, they had a lot of things go their way as well. Drop balls from the Hull Kingston Rovers side that were swooped upon by Wakefield to score tries to Miller, Peter Godinay picking up a loose ball as well, and of course Craig Hall having a ball that bounced, wasn't collected, bounced into his arms and score off that. So plenty of things went their way that day. They'll need at least that today again, Eddie.
Yes, it was February the 15th. It was the second round of the Super League, 44-24 as Phil rightly says, and having beaten Castleford the previous week, they were 100% at the start of the season, but things have gone very much awry